Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another issue of Texas Insider. I'm Jim Cardle. Today, we're pleased to be able to visit with State Representative Dan Flynn from House District 2. Representative Flynn is in his fifth term, having been elected in 2002. Representative, you serve on the Homeland Security and Border Affairs as well as the Veterans and Defense Committees. Thank you for joining us today.
And Public Safety, yes, sir. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
We have had a lot of discussion lately here in not only Texas politics, but national politics on the presidential race. I want to stick to two things if we can. The first of which is redistricting, which you've been directly impacted.
Redistricting is an issue, no question. And in the House version of the redistricting map, I was paired with another conservative next to me, and I'm disappointed in that, and I was opposed to that. With the going into the federal courts, they didn't change our district, so it's going to remain the same. So House District 2 will now be Hunt, Hopkins, and Van Zandt County.
You're one of about a half dozen folks that may be paired, so to speak.
That's right, and then there'll be some open seats, which is something I haven't quite figured out. And then the opposition party has very few pairings, but you know, that's the politics. And as much as we hear conversation about it, the biggest issues in my district are not redistricting. They're more concerned about border security. They're more concerned about what's happening on the national level with the huge deficit that we're operating in.
Talk a little bit, if you would. I know you were down on the border back about a year ago when there was a couple attacked during a fishing outing. You've been a big part of Texas's policy down protecting our southern border. What are you seeing there in terms of progress that is or is not being made right now?
It's an interesting situation that I find myself in. As part of the Homeland Security and Public Safety Committee, I'm also a commander in the Texas State Guard. And so I wear two hats when I go
Forgot to mention that. Thank you for your service.
So I wear two hats when I go down there. And we've had some great successes that no one ever mentions. The biggest problem that we have on the border is not that individual coming across wanting to have a new life or have a job. It's the Mexican drug cartels, and those are the people that are killing. Over 40,000 people have been killed on that border in the last 4 years. Almost 4,000 in Juarez alone this year. So it's a very dangerous place, and if anyone thinks there's not a war going on down there, they're not paying attention.
Not to put you on the spot, but is out of 4,000, is it a known fact how many have been on the U.S. side, or is that type of figure percentage-wise even estimable?
I think there are some U.S. citizens involved, but most of those have been in Mexico, where the killing is. In fact, I don't know for a fact, but I understand that the mayor of Juarez lives in El Paso.
Interesting. So in terms of we're hearing on the presidential debate the issue of immigration. You're saying immigration is totally a separate issue and that it's really the drug cartels that you legislators need to be focusing on.
We have got to secure our border. And I would agree with everybody that wants to fuss about one particular issue, saying just a fence will solve it. No, they won't. A fence won't solve it. You build a 30-foot fence, what do? They get a 30-foot ladder. So you have to have a combination of a fence. You have to have security cameras. But the main thing, and you've heard Governor Perry say it on a number of occasions, we need support from the federal government with troops on the ground. That's what's going to happen to be able to solve that problem.
Okay, big issue down there on the border. Let's jump, if we can. We're visiting with State Representative Dan Flynn from District 2. You have recently been honored and been involved with a group called the National Conference of State Legislators, made up of your peers, you and your peers nationwide. You're a former board member, you're chairman of the Budget Committee. What are you hearing from other peers of yours or state legislators in terms of budget to budget? How's Texas doing, and are they fearing the same things for our nation that you legislators are here in Texas?
Not only am I chairman of the Budget Committee, but also we have a deficit reduction task force which worked with the United States Congress in their deficit reduction task force.
Okay.
As I was concerned from the beginning, and as you will hear many of our congressmen saying, they were concerned too that there wouldn't be a success there. It is the line in the sand, and we're kidding ourselves if we don't think it is the election issue.
So it's not just the politics, it's the real policy
That's right.
and politics all in one.
That's
They're
right.
they're fearful for our nation, I take it is what you're saying.
It is the scariest thing that most of us have ever seen, because this big cut in our defense budget, for example, would reduce us to a Navy less than what we had in 1941. It would reduce the Air Force to levels that have never been before.
Now, a lot of folks won't know what you're referring to there. Since the super committee did not meet its goals, there's automatic defense cuts.
That's right.
It's impacting
$500 billion
$500 billion. And again, back to 41.
for our Navy. Yes, it would cut us back to the strength that we had in 1941. That is the beginning of World War II.
You mentioned before we went on the air, you as a Republican were in the Democrat White House and visited with his budget director, I guess.
In my capacity with the National Conference of State Legislators. And of course, they're wanting to blame this on the previous administration. And as I told them, I wasn't there as a Democrat or a Republican. I was there because I'm an American that is very concerned about the $15 trillion deficit that we're living within. And if we don't get our economy going, we'll never be able to do that. And that particular issue that we're talking about, the Dodd-Frank, is something that was done, and they said that was because of the global financial crisis. Well, as I referred to them, my bank in Van, Texas, had nothing to do with the global financial crisis, and it's killing us. All the small community banks, you're already seeing there's been a bank in Texas that decided to give their charter back because they would rather not be under all the banking regulations that are killing them.
So the idea that the community bank is really the underpinning of the local community. Here you've got a clear case when the candidates are saying they repeal Dodd-Frank. You're seeing real live examples in the community.
Absolutely, and you know, small community banks are the heart and soul of our communities. And if you're hurting them, you're hurting the country.
Okay, Representative Flynn, I appreciate your time. We're going to have to leave it there, but want to invite you back. Appreciate your service. Folks, be sure and check back here in the coming weeks for more from Texas Insider TV. Remember, you're either an insider or you're not. Representative Flynn, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here.
I'm Jim Cardle. Thanks for joining us.